Hey, it's Gen Recapper. Welcome to our channel. Right at the beginning of the movie, we meet two dinosaurs who are a loving couple. There are 3 eggs right in front of them, ready to hatch into little dinosaurs. Soon enough, the eggs crack open and 3 absolutely adorable dinosaurs pop out. 2 of them are up on their feet and full of energy, while one is still cozy inside its eggshell. This little dino is named Arlo, and it's not as big as the others. The dino parents then carefully bring their babies out to show them their home. These parents are into farming and they really care for each other. And guess what? Now, with the babies, they've become an even cuter family. As time went by, the baby dinosaurs grew up. The other dinosaurs were more active than Arlo. They helped their parents with different tasks. But when Arlo was asked to do something, he found it difficult and got scared by small things. Then, the dinosaur parents gathered their children. They explained to them that winter was approaching and they needed to store a lot of food. They had built a special room for this purpose. The father dinosaur even left its footprint there, making it special. All the little dinosaurs were really excited. They told their father that they wanted to leave their footprints too. However, the father dinosaur stopped them and explained that they were still young and needed to do something important before leaving their mark. He said, "You can't leave your footprints until you achieve something significant in life. I'll be waiting for that day." So, the young dinosaurs listened and learned from their parents, knowing that one day, when they felt they had accomplished something meaningful, they could proudly leave their footprints for all to see. When my kids grow up to be like me, the father dinosaur decides to test them. Arlo's brother gathers wood, lifting heavy trees, while his sister cleans up the farm. They do a great job and get permission to leave their footprints. But when it comes to Arlo, he hasn't been able to do anything yet. He feels like he's not good at anything. So his father doesn't let him leave his mark, and that makes Arlo feel sad. At night, while Arlo was sleeping, his father came to him. Arlo's father asked him to come along. Then they started walking together. This was a very sweet moment. Arlo's father helped him realize that fear can hold you back from doing things. His father wanted to help Arlo overcome that fear. "Be confident," his father said. "You can handle anything that comes your way." After that, Arlo went to sleep. The next morning when they woke up, Arlo's father saw that their stored food was missing. It seemed like an animal had come and either eaten or taken all the food. Everyone was worried, but Arlo's father told him that this was a test of his confidence. You need to set a trap with a net, capture the animal, and, well, you know what comes next. If you can do this, I'll let you leave your special mark. Arlo was super excited to hear this challenge. His father helped him set up the trap, and then Arlo waited patiently for the animal to come. They put some corn near the trap to attract it. Suddenly, a wild kid came along and started picking the corn. It turns out that the thief was not an animal, but this wild kid. Without wasting a moment, Arlo quickly threw the trap and caught the wild kid in it. But the kid started screaming a lot. The wild kid was using its own kind of language to beg for freedom. Arlo felt scared when he saw and heard this, and he was puzzled about what kind of strange creature this was. The wild kid lifted the trap in confusion and managed to escape from there. When Arlo's father arrived at the scene, he scolded Arlo, asking him what he had done. He told Arlo that by letting the wild kid go, his fear had caused a lot of trouble. His father wanted Arlo to stop being so scared and come along with him. He wanted to help Arlo overcome his fear. Arlo's father wasn't scolding him for no reason. He wanted to teach Arlo to be brave and strong. He wanted Arlo to be the one who doesn't get scared by the world, rather than the world being scared of him. Sometimes, parents scold us to help us become better. Arlo's father took him into a forest, and as they were there, it started to rain. The weather outside was rainy, and Arlo started feeling scared. He told his father that they should go back because the weather didn't seem good, but his father told him to stay calm and walk beside him. Up in the sky, there was loud thunder that made Arlo's heart race because he wasn't very brave. Because of the rain, the path they were walking on became slippery, and they kept slipping on the stones. While walking, Arlo's foot got twisted and he fell down. Arlo asked his father to stop and pleaded with him to go back. His father replied, "I know you're scared, Arlo, and I'm sorry I brought you here. But remember, if I don't help you conquer your fear now, what will you do when you grow up? Alright, that's enough for today, let's head back. But then, the rain started pouring down really hard. There was a strong wind, like a big gust of air, which meant a storm was coming. The water flooded down, bringing rocks and everything with it. It was like a big, powerful river. Arlo's father told him to go higher up to stay safe. Using its mouth and tail, his father lifted Arlo up so he wouldn't get carried away by the flood. But his father stayed down there himself. The flood took him away. At this part of the story, the screen goes blank for a little while. This is because it was a really emotional moment. Arlo lost his father in this flood. After a while, the screen comes back and we see Arlo returning to his home. He starts working alongside his siblings. Even though he used to be sad, he's trying his best to keep going. While Arlo was working, he spotted the same wild kid again. It triggered something in his mind. He remembered what his father had said about catching and dealing with that kid. Arlo's determination surged, and he dashed towards the wild kid. He managed to catch him, but in the struggle, he slipped and fell into a stream. The water carried Arlo quite far away, and he felt weak and dizzy. Eventually, he regained his senses only to find himself all alone. He felt really sad at first. However, he then noticed the wild kid again. Arlo decided to follow him, and this led him to higher ground. But there, he saw the stream again, the one that was flowing in the direction of his home. Suddenly, Arlo remembered what his father had taught him. His father had said that when he saw a stream, he shouldn't be scared because it would guide him back home. Feeling a bit more confident, Arlo started walking alongside the stream, hopeful that it would lead him home. But Arlo's tummy started rumbling with hunger. He spotted a tasty-looking fruit up high in a tree. Arlo tried to reach it by putting his feet on a stone. While munching on the fruit, the stone slipped, and down came Arlo, his foot stuck between some rocks. He struggled really hard to free his foot, but it was trapped tight. The day turned into night, and Arlo fell asleep, still stuck. When he woke up in the morning, his foot was finally free. Someone had dug around the stones, and there were little footprints nearby. Arlo realized that these footprints belonged to the wild kid who had helped him get unstuck. Feeling grateful and brave, Arlo stood up. He decided to build a shelter to live in and began gathering wood for it. Then the wild kid appeared again, and this time he had brought a lizard for Arlo, thinking Arlo might be hungry. But Arlo didn't want the lizard anywhere near him. He got scared because it was a wild lizard, not a friendly one. After that, the wild kid brought a big insect and even separated its head to show Arlo that it could eat it. But Arlo didn't want to eat it either. You see, Arlo was a vegetarian. He liked to eat plants, fruits, and trees. The wild kid finally figured out what Arlo needed. He went and got that same fruit Arlo had seen earlier. Arlo was really hungry, so he gobbled up the fruit quickly. The wild kid understood now. He took Arlo to a place where the tree that bore that fruit was standing. There were many berries just like the one Arlo had eaten hanging from the tree. Arlo's mouth started watering when he saw the berries. He wanted to eat them right away, but the wild kid stopped him. But when Arlo got closer to the tree, a big snake suddenly appeared. It looked like the snake was going to attack Arlo. But the wild kid bravely fought the snake off, and the snake got scared and slithered away. Then they continued on their way. While they were walking, a huge animal with birds on its horns came out from some bushes and trees. Since they were all animals, they could talk to each other. The big animal asked Arlo, "Who is that kid with you?" Arlo replied, "I don't know his name." The big animal asked Arlo to give a name to the wild kid. Arlo thought for a moment and decided to call him Spot. Arlo looked at the wild kid, hoping he'd like the name. Spot seemed to approve, and they became friends. They continued their journey together. Arlo was actually heading home, but he got a bit lost and didn't know which way to go. As they walked, they came across a place with tall grass. Arlo brushed his tail through the grass, and lots of fireflies started glowing and flying around. It was a beautiful sight, and Arlo felt happy at first. But then Arlo remembered something. His father used to do the same thing to make Arlo happy, and that made Arlo feel sad again. Feeling down, Arlo sat down on the ground. But soon, Arlo had an idea. He placed 5 small blocks of wood in the mud and then put a big piece of wood on top. It looked like he was making something. Spot watched as Arlo worked on his creation. This arrangement holds a special meaning. Arlo is using it to tell Spot about his family. He shares that they were once a family of 5, but his father passed away, leaving them incomplete. Spot's lack of response deepens Arlo's sadness, making him question whether sharing his story was worth it. Surprisingly, Spot joins in by placing 3 wooden blocks and then 2 larger ones in the mud. This gesture signifies that Spot too has a story of loss to tell. He reveals that his parents are no longer with him, leaving him alone. This shared understanding brings them closer as they sit together, embracing their sadness. The following day, their journey continues, but they are caught in a sudden and fierce storm. The heavy rain triggers painful memories for Arlo, reminding him of the flood that took his father's life. Overwhelmed with fear, he seeks shelter under a tree. When he awakens, he realizes he's far from the stream that could lead him back home, dampening his spirits. As they travel further, they encounter intelligent birds. Hoping for guidance, Arlo asks about the stream and his way home, but the birds are focused on scavenging and don't offer help. Their mention of a wild child unsettles Arlo, reminding him of the danger that might lurk nearby. During their journey, Arlo and Spot encounter huge dinosaurs that initially scare them. However, a kind and protective dinosaur assures them of its herbivorous nature. This encounter teaches them about facing fears. In return for their help in retrieving stolen cows, this giant dinosaur agrees to guide them closer to home. After successfully assisting the dinosaur, they reach a point where they can see mountains and the stream, signaling their proximity to home. The giant dinosaur departs, leaving them on the verge of reuniting with their family. Approaching their house, Arlo's excitement grows. Reuniting with his family brings mixed emotions. Though his father is absent, his teachings continue to inspire them. Arlo places his footprint beside his father's, honoring his memory and showcasing his growth. The story comes to a bittersweet end as Arlo and Spot say their farewells. Through tears, Arlo encourages Spot to embrace his own journey. They part ways, knowing their bond has forever impacted their lives. Arlo's journey culminates as he returns home to his mother and siblings. And that's where this tale concludes. I hope you enjoyed the story.